Doug Flynn joins us now from Flynn Zito Capital Management. Listening in, I'm sure, on all of this and looking at a stock market today that's taken a hit. The Dow's down 800-plus points, right? Yeah. The Nasdaq's down. So some of this Greenland stuff is hitting. I know there's a problem in the Japanese bond market today, which is having an effect on things as well. But it seems like, you know, the market is kind of taking notice of a little bit of this. What would you say in terms of that last point Hannah was making, which is kind of Biden-esque from the Trump administration saying, hey, listen, we got to get the message out. We're doing a much better job on all these economic issues than we're getting credit for.
Yes, I mean, the problem is that he keeps talking about prices being lowered and not enough about the rate in which they're going up is way, way down. And I think that's where the message gets lost, because people just feel like, we've talked about it a number of times, if 25% has been the inflation rate the last 5 years and 22% of them were under Biden, yeah, he's still responsible for the last 3, but it's a much slower pace. And so it's on top of everything. And that's why people feel the way that they feel. And so that rate has come down. That's a good thing, but it's on top of everything else. And of course, there are spots that have come down, but not across the board. And I think that's where it gets lost. And so people just feel it. They don't feel their wages are keeping up. And so the market, I think, is taking the Greenland information and all of that that's going on today and baking it in and saying that perhaps we need to take a little bit of a breather here for that, and you know, if things are going to be a little different here with tariffs now on other countries again, here we go again.
Here we go again, like last April. But maybe there are lessons learned from that in terms of don't overreact. That was Scott Bessen's advice over Davos earlier today, and you know, it'll kind of come back. I think his advice was more for countries than investors. But it's interesting because, and I'm going to try to find time later in the show to go through this in some more detail and look at stock markets. I think one of the ways to look at presidential performance and the stock market, although it's in my opinion never really fair to give presidents too much credit or blame for the stock market, is to do it on a relative basis. And although the stock market's performed well, I mean, it's been going up under Trump, our market has actually underperformed since he's come back into office versus other markets, versus like the world markets. What would you say about that?
Yeah, so international markets definitely have had outperformance. That's been going on for a little bit of time. But part of the reason why that is the case is because the U.S. dollar has depreciated. And so what happens is, if you adjust it for the dollar, then we really aren't underperforming. But when you add a weakened dollar on top of the international markets, it makes their markets look like they're performing much better. And indeed, they are on a U.S. dollar basis. So that's where the outperformance is coming from. Now, I will say that for the last 15 years, our market has outperformed the international markets. So some of that is going to be just adjusting, but it really has more to do with the dollar weakening, which always has positives and negatives. One of the positives is that our goods are then going to be cheaper overseas. So there's always a give and a take when you look at things. But so another reason why you should be diversified, Connell, not just have everything in the U.S., should have some international stocks as well.
Right. Little gold, which has been doing well.
Yes,
which is
indeed.
Interesting. Thank you, Doug. Doug Flynn with us as they ring the closing bell.